Hello, and welcome back to CinemaBurger, where I bring you movie reviews from a different perspective. Today we're here to talk about the Netflix original movie, The Christmas Chronicles Part 2. This time it's directed by Christopher Columbus, who was a producer on the first one, and once again stars Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. And this time Julian Dennison, you might know from Deadpool 2 and Hunt for the Wilderpeople. So this time the two kids that helped out Santa in the first movie are back and they're a little older. Kate is especially upset because they're spending Christmas in a tropical island instead of home where it snows. First of all, as much as anyone loves Christmas, if you're in a tropical island on a vacation, don't complain about that. You're on a tropical vacation. Second, the father from the first movie passed away, and the mother is now dating a new person, played by Tyrese Gibson. Now, of course, since it's the mom's boyfriend, the daughter automatically hates him, but he's not doing anything evil or sinister. He just took the family on a nice vacation to get to know them. He has his own son as well. Now we meet our antagonist of the movie, and it's someone named Belsnickel. Now, it looks like just a regular kid, and has the aid of elves as he's trying to cancel Christmas, because, that's every Christmas movie, is they're trying to cancel Christmas. Now, Kate is upset still, so she tries to cancel her vacation and go back home, and she's a 13-year-old making her own flight plans. When you need an adult to make reservations for a flight, but the airport goes along with it, and she attempts to go back home. Now, we see on the tropical island that Belsnickel is there watching Kate, and he offers to take her to the airport because he claims the bus broke down. So, stranger asks you to get in the car with him. Of course you go. You don't think of it as weird at all. But we continue. Now, we're at least 25 minutes into the movie, and we haven't seen Santa Claus yet. I mean, yeah, you need time to build up the story and everything. But this part of the movie kind of drags a bit. I was really not feeling the movie at this point. So as Belsnickel is taking Kate to the airport, it turns out Tyrese Gibson's son has snuck on because he doesn't like being alone. So as they're driving through the woods, Belsnickel opens a portal and throws them in, and they end up in the North Pole. And the kids land in a very bad green screen effect. A little further away, Santa is chasing some white tiger in the woods or something with the reindeer. And the special effects in this movie are pretty bad. I know it's only a Netflix movie, not a big budget, but I've seen Netflix movies with better special effects than this, and they're downright just sad. All of the elves look really bad CG. I don't remember elves in the first one or how they show them, but they look really bad in this movie. So Santa, once again played by Kurt Russell, hears the kids scream, or he sees them because they land near where he was hunting this tiger or something, and he finds them and brings them back to his village. Now, what's interesting is how they explain why no one sees the North Pole and his village is because he uses the Star of Bethlehem and the Aurora Borealis to somehow hide everyone from seeing the North Pole, and it also keeps everybody young because Santa is a couple of thousand years old. I mean, the way they explain it, it seems semi-plausible for a Christmas movie, so we'll accept that. Because it seems pretty scientific. It has to do with, the northern lights, have a frequency that hide the town. So I'm like, alright, fine. So when Santa brings Kate and the son back to the town, they look frozen, and Mrs. Claus has some hot liquid concoction that will bring them back to life. But the way they look, they're clearly dead. They froze to death. But after they drink this magical elixir, they're fine. They defrost and wake up. So as Santa is showing them the town with all the elves, they explain how if you took Amazon, FedEx, and the U.S. Postal Service and upped their production by 4 times the amount, you would equal that of 1 day of production in Santa's village. Now, Santa also says that there's a little over 1 million elves working for him. So, when you think about it, the U.S. Postal Service, Amazon, and FedEx combined probably have more than 1 million people working for them. So, and obviously the elves are magic, so I guess that's the only explanation for them being able to produce that many toys in that amount of time. But if you're thinking about actual manpower, then that's not equal. Like, Amazon probably has over 1 million workers alone. But once again, elves are magic, so we'll let that slide. So now Belsnickel also lands in Santa's village, and he falls out of his ride, and it's clearly a dummy falling from the sky. It's really funny looking, actually. So once the kids have woken up, Mrs. Claus, once again played by Goldie Hawn, she reads the kids a story. Now, she goes over to a bookshelf, and you see it says the Christmas Chronicles, so that means there's potential for more stories in this series, which is fine. So, they talk about Santa's origins, where he came from a German town, and he helped free elves from being hunted by humans, and in exchange they went to work for him making toys for kids all over the world. So the elves went from being hunted to basically slaves. I mean, yeah, they get treated well, but they're working 365 days a year for Santa. But I don't know. They explain that there have been bad elves, and they tell this tale of Belsnickel. He was an elf that felt unloved because he was an inventor for toys, and Santa didn't give him any credit, really, and that he spent all his time making toys and preparing for Christmas and not spending time with him himself, who Belsnickel saw Mr. and Mrs. Claus as parents to him. So, for breaking all the elves' rules, he gets turned into a human, who is the actor Julian Dennison. Now, the motivation for Belsnickel's plan is, like, valid, honestly. Like, just give an elf some validation for making, like, these toys or something. Like, just show them that you care. And Belsnickel brings up a good point. You spend 364 days a year preparing for one night. Which is like, you should spend a couple days to, like, be with your family or give appreciation to the elves. So, once again, very valid point. So, Belsnickel gets some points there. Like, his feelings are valid. Obviously, you don't want... His plan is to basically take the Star of Bethlehem and bring it to the South Pole and create his own workshop and make everyone forget about Santa. But his plan may not be good, but his reasonings for feeling underappreciated or undervalued are valid. Now, at one point, Santa and Kate go to where the original elves lived to talk to them to ask for help. And this is a pretty cool scene. He is in the woods and he hears like a branch crack or something, or like an arrow being shot. And all of a sudden a bunch of arrows come flying at Santa, and he's like blocking them one by one. And it's slowed down at first, and then they speed it up. And this is probably the coolest looking scene in the movie, where he's just like deflecting arrows left and right. Now, we talk to the main elf, and it's voiced by Malcolm McDowell, and they get help to build a new star because Belsnickel and Santa were fighting over the Star of Bethlehem that's on top of the giant tree that hides Santa's village, and Belsnickel had some gravity glove to pull it near him, and Santa was using magic, and they were like pulling it toward each other, like that scene in the Last Jedi when Kylo Ren and Rey are pulling Luke's lightsaber toward each other, and they break it just like in that movie. They break the star, so they need help making a new star. Now this is the point in the movie where it's like the last 20-25 minutes where it gets kind of dull again, where they talk about Belsnickel wants to feel loved, so Santa apologizes and everyone makes up. And at the end, Belsnickel feels bad and he turns back into an elf because he helped save Christmas or whatever. There's also something about they end up back in time and Kate sees his dad as a kid again. And I feel like that was kind of pointless. Oh yeah, at one point when when Belsnickel and the bad elves are like wreaking havoc, they start playing Who Let the Dogs Out. I mean, that's at least a 20-plus-year-old reference. Kids watching this now are not going to understand that. Maybe if the parents watching with their kids are going to get it, but I don't even for nostalgia purposes, I didn't feel that was funny at all. So overall, The Christmas Chronicles Part 2 is a better movie than the first one. It has an actual conflict and an antagonist, because in the first movie it's just Santa's sleigh broke down and the kids have to help him. This time there's actually someone with a reason to hate Santa and Christmas, and they try to destroy it. So you learn about Santa's and the elves' origins, and it's interesting, but it's that first 20 minutes where they're in like Mexico and the last 20 minutes that fall into stereotypical plot points. But it's the main like middle of the movie that's really good. And for that reason, I have to give Christmas Chronicles Part 2 a 3 out of 5 burgers. Because at least the majority of the story is interesting. Unfortunately, the special effects look terrible. And the villain has a valid point for wanting to do what he does. Now, Julian Dennison is a good actor. Kurt Russell is pretty good, as usual. And, yeah, so if you saw the first Christmas Chronicles, check it out. It is better than the first one. You just gotta get through that first 20 minutes and get past that last 20 minutes. But I think it's worth watching. It's a Netflix original, so if you have Netflix, you can check it out. Alright, I've been Scott Berger, and I'll see you next time.